Now students, we will learn about the various land tax policies under the British. So the East India Company had to pay 4 lakh pounds to the British government for its control over the Bengal province. So it's like this. Indians give tax to the Indian ruler. The Indian ruler, as per the dual government system, gives this whole revenue to the English East India Company. English East India Company takes this money and gives it to the British government in Europe. What a long chain, right? So each one on top puts pressure on the one below, but the maximum pressure was on the farmers who worked so hard, did agriculture, and still had to pay such heavy taxes to the rulers. So they had to pay 4 lakh pounds to the British government in Europe for its control over the province of Bengal. Bengal here includes West Bengal, Orissa, a part of Bihar and Bangladesh and even Assam. So they had to fulfill this commitment. The company had to stabilize its financial interests in a very secure manner. So it implemented a lot of new tax policies. One such tax policy is the permanent zamindari system, who again I'll tell you easy way to remember. IAS, IPS, the next one is IRS, Indian Revenue Service. Revenue is related to tax itself again. Of course, none other than Lord Cornwallis. He implemented a new land tax policy in Bengal and Bihar during 1793. So whenever we talk about the permanent zamindari system, just think of Bengal. Okay, this is related to Bengal. Because English East India Company got control over Bengal, they were supposed to give 4 lakh pounds to the British government. So they were trying to make a strategy to collect tax, and this strategy is called the zamindari system. In which year? In the year 1793, very important date. They wanted a steady revenue. They wanted to be sure, okay, this much money we will definitely get, because they had a definite commitment to give to the British government. So this system was called the permanent zamindari system. There is the British government here, they are zamindars. So the whole of Bengal was divided into parts. Each part was under one zamindar, and that zamindar was to collect tax from these peasants. Under this system, zamindar became the land owner. So the whole kingdom was divided into parts. Each part was given to a zamindar. The zamindar was the owner of the land. The zamindar was expected to pay the agreed amount of land tax to the company on a set date every single year. He was free to collect any amount of land tax from the farmers. Let's say the British said that they want 50,000 pounds from this zamindar. Now the zamindar can make his own decision. If he can get the 50,000 pounds by charging 10% tax or 20% tax or 30% tax, that freedom was given to the zamindar. If he collected excess money, then the amount demanded by the British, he could keep that for himself. So this was very beneficial for the zamindar. But what if the zamindar was unable to collect the amount of land tax because of the flood or famine? In these situations, what would happen? The ownership of the land was taken away by the company, and he was removed from the status of being a zamindar. Both the zamindar and the company were benefited by this system. But who was suffering? The farmer. The grave suffering was on the farmer, because they had so much pressure to face from the British government and the zamindar. This system created a new social group that aided or supported the British. The farmers, the farming laborers, suffered due to irregular working opportunities in farming lands, and they were forced to live a life of insecurity. Y'all can imagine yourself, they are farmers. Sometimes they were given jobs, sometimes they were not given jobs. They didn't have a job security, they had no facilities. Employment was very seasonal in nature. they had so much suffering, and on top of all this, as peasants, they had to pay a certain amount of tax to the zamindar. So it was a very, very difficult situation. This system was extended from Bengal to Bihar, Orissa, Andhra and Varanasi regions. According to Charles Metcalfe, he is a British author, the Indian farmers were born in debt, meaning debt means loan. The Indian farmers are born in debt, live in debt and died in debt due to the land tax policies of the British. It is so true. The statement captures the pain of Indian farmers because of zamindari system. Now let's look at Mahalvari system. Students, when you are studying zamindari system, Mahalvari system and Rayatwari system, apart from knowing each system in detail, who introduced, where all was this there, you all should very clearly know how to differentiate these three systems. Now let's look at Mahalvari system in detail. In the Mahalvari system, each piece of land was divided into blocks. Each block was called Mahal. Mahal means taluk. Like how zamindari system was prominent in Bengal, Bihar, Orissa, this method was prominent in Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Punjab and Delhi. R.M. Bird and James Thomson implemented this system. There were differences in the implementation of the system from region to region. Like how zamindari system was uniform, Mahalvari system was not uniform. The big and small zamindars were a part of the system, whereas in permanent zamindari system, there were only very big zamindars. Here there were small zamindars as well. In this system, students, so what the British would do is, they would, just like how in zamindari system, they would tell the members responsible for each mahal that they want certain amount as tax. Let's take the same example, 50,000 pounds. But here they would purposely ask for more amount so that the farmers will not be able to pay. They wanted to use this method to take away the ownership of land from the zamindar. So because they demanded more, the members responsible for the mahals would put more pressure on the farmers because they don't want to lose the ownership of the land. But because the farmers could not pay the extra amount demanded by the British, they ended up suffering. Even the zamindar ended up suffering. So because of the Mahalvari system, everyone was suffering. Now let's look at the third method, the Rayatwari system. The Rayatwari system was first implemented in Baramahal region by Alexander Reed in the year 1792. It was implemented in Madras and Mysore region by Thomas Munro in the year 1801. Now most of the regions were already under either zamindari system or Mahalvari system, and they were also under the British rule. Under this system, both the farmer and the company were directly linked. So if you notice in other systems, there was the company, there was a zamindar, and then there was the farmer. Here, the farmer and the British were directly linked. The tiller of the land was recognized as the owner. If you are the farmer, you are only the owner of the land, and whatever you produced, 50% of that you had to pay as land tax to the company or to the government. The land tax had 30 years tenure. The tax could be reviewed after this tenure. So they had fixed this 50% for 30 years. They would revise the 50% rate only after 30 years. Though they were very small farmers who became the owners of the land, they were subjected to very high suffering because 50% is a very, very high amount of tax. The officials gave punitive punishments, like they took action on whoever did not pay the land tax. So this forced the farmers to borrow money from money lenders whenever the crops failed, and they even sold their lands sometimes to repay these loans, and they became landless laborers. Though the company government claimed that the new system benefits the farmers, the irony, the true situation was that more and more farmers lost their lands due to the implementation of the Rayatwari system. Students, irony means, let's say they are saying that this is so good, but if you see in reality, it is very bad. It's just the opposite. So here the British was claiming, oh, we have made even the smallest farmer the owner of the land. But did they keep the opportunity favorable for them to continue and grow? No, they didn't. They kept the land tax so high that they could not survive in the pressure of the system. So the impact of British land tax system, what happened because of the British's land tax system? Number one, a new class of zamindars who exploited the farmers was created. There were no zamindars before the zamindari system. The farmer paid tax directly to the king. The farmers who were subjected to the exploitation of the zamindars became landless slowly. Slowly even these zamindars lost their land. Land became a commodity. Before this, there was no concept of buying land, selling land. Now, land became a commodity. You could buy land, you could sell land. There was a value on land as a resource. Loans could be raised by mortgaging the land. So if you go to a money lender and say, I have this land and give me money, they would give you loan against the land that you have. Mortgage means, assuming you're taking a loan, let's say you want a loan for 10 lakhs. The bank will say, can you give me some guarantee so that when you fail to repay the money, I can sell that asset. That can be gold, it can be land, it can be anything. To recover the money they gave you as a loan. So when you give that gold or land to the bank as a collateral, it's called mortgaging. Many zamindars also had to mortgage their lands in order to pay land taxes. The agricultural sector became commercialized and had to grow raw materials needed by industries back in England. So let's say the industries in England wanted to make cotton shirts. Indians were forced to grow cotton. They liked this color indigo a lot, so they were forced to grow indigo. So everything depended on what the factories needed in England instead of for sustenance of Indians. The money lenders also became very strong.